We always have something anomalous going on or something unexpected. We are all natural-born scientists.
After years inside the world's most mysterious property, Erik Bard has finally revealed what's really happening at Skinwalker Ranch, and it's more terrifying than anyone imagined. Step with us as we uncover the dark secrets hidden within the ranch. Beyond the known. Before setting foot on the infamous Skinwalker Ranch, Erik Bard had already carved a remarkable path in the worlds of physics and technology. Born on April 2, 1973, Bard grew up with a curious mind, fascinated by the mysteries of the universe. Even as a child, he experienced unusual phenomena, UFO sightings, and strange occurrences that hinted at a lifelong fascination with the unexplained. Little did he know that these early experiences would foreshadow the extraordinary work he would later undertake at one of the most mysterious places on Earth. Bard's formal journey into science began with academics. In the late 80s, he earned a full scholarship to Transylvania University, a rare opportunity that highlighted his early promise. He later transferred to the University of Kentucky, where he pursued a dual focus in physics and mathematics, earning his Bachelor of Science degree in 1992. His thirst for knowledge didn't stop there. Bard went on to Brigham Young University, diving into the challenging world of plasma physics at the graduate level. His rigorous academic foundation would become the bedrock for a career that blended scientific rigor with a taste for the unknown. While still a student, Bard began applying his skills in the professional world. At IBM, he worked as a process engineer, gaining practical experience in complex technological systems. After leaving IBM, he spent 2 years traveling across Eastern Europe, a period that not only broadened his worldview, but also exposed him to new technological and scientific approaches in a rapidly changing world. Returning to the U.S., he joined Lexmark as an associate engineer, working on printing technology. One of Bard's standout contributions came through his work on M-Disk archival optical data storage. This technology was designed to preserve data for centuries, far longer than conventional storage media. His experience also included developing consumer electronics and working with X-ray analytical instruments, showcasing a versatility that combined both theoretical knowledge and practical engineering skills. In short, Erik Bard was not just a physicist. He was an innovator, an engineer, and a problem solver equipped with a skill set few could match. Yet, despite his accomplishments in mainstream science, Bard's attention always returned to the strange and unexplained. During his youth, he remembered a UFO sighting while camping as a scout in the Uinta Mountains, a memory that lingered and shaped his curiosity. It was during his time as a physics student that he first heard stories about Skinwalker Ranch, a place that had become almost legendary in paranormal circles. The ranch, a sprawling property covering over 500 acres in Utah, had earned a reputation for unusual phenomena. Locals claimed they had seen mysterious lights moving across the sky, as if something was watching them. Animals on the ranch were said to act in ways no one could explain, running around in circles, refusing to eat, or suddenly freezing in place like they sensed something humans couldn't. Even trained scientists who visited the ranch reported sensor readings that made no sense, numbers and signals that didn't match anything found in normal physics. All these stories only pushed Erik's curiosity even further. He wanted to find out what was truly happening on the ranch and see if any of the rumors were real. So when the chance finally came for him to join the investigation, he stepped in with a mix of strong scientific knowledge and his own past experiences with strange events. He fit easily into a team of researchers, scientists, and technical experts who were all trying to uncover the ranch's secrets. But the path that led him to this moment began long before he ever set foot on the property. Crossing paths. When Erik's curiosity about Skinwalker Ranch grew stronger, he had no idea that fate was already preparing his next big step. In 2011, he met Brandon Fugel, the businessman who would eventually purchase the ranch and bring a new wave of scientific investigation to it. Their first conversation wasn't dramatic or mystical. Brandon wanted real answers, not campfire stories, and Erik, with his sharp physics background, seemed like the right person for the job. But in the beginning, Erik wasn't convinced. The stories of glowing lights, strange creatures, and bizarre environmental readings didn't impress him. In fact, he admitted that the whole thing sounded very far-fetched. He saw it the way most serious scientists would. Interesting, but probably blown out of proportion. Still, something about Brandon's determination and the consistency of the eyewitness accounts made him pause. As their conversations continued, Erik slowly realized something. Even if 9 out of 10 stories were wrong, that one story that might be true could change everything he knew about science, physics, and the natural world. That possibility alone was enough to spark something inside him. Over time, this curiosity grew into a full partnership. Erik became the principal investigator and chief scientist for the History Channel series The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, a role that placed him at the center of a real-world scientific mission. But behind the scenes, Erik's job was far bigger than what viewers saw. He took charge of designing and leading every scientific experiment performed on the property. He supervised the team's research, analyzed sensor data, and interpreted the anomalies captured on video and instrumentation. With his experience in plasma physics, optical instruments, and high-tech analytical systems, he built one of the most advanced private scientific monitoring networks in the United States right on the ranch. This wasn't just a simple security setup. Erik installed an entire 24/7 surveillance grid of cameras, motion detectors, radio frequency meters, radiation monitors, and custom-built tools that could detect even the smallest change in the environment. He wanted the ranch to be covered from every angle, sky, ground, and underground. As the investigation continued, Erik's role expanded even further. He became the steady voice of reason during the most shocking moments on the ranch. His calm explanations, his careful language, and his refusal to jump to conclusions made him a trusted guide for both the team and the audience. Whether something unusual appeared in the sky or an instrument recorded a sudden spike, Erik was always the one trying to understand what was happening. Thanks to The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, Erik Bard quickly grew into one of the most well-known scientific figures in today's paranormal research world. The show introduced him to millions of viewers and turned him into the steady, trusted voice behind the investigations. And as the episodes rolled on, something interesting happened. The ranch that once sounded unbelievable or too strange to be real became the heart of Erik's most demanding and most fascinating work. But a life built around a place like Skinwalker Ranch is never smooth. The strange activity, the long hours, the pressure to make sense of the unexplained, none of it comes without difficulty. And for Erik, this journey was no exception. As Erik settled deeper into his role at Skinwalker Ranch, he quickly realized that this wasn't just another scientific job. The work demanded his full attention, day and night. And to truly understand what was happening on the property, he needed to live inside the phenomenon, not study it from far away. For many months, Erik gave up the comfort of normal life and moved into a small camper trailer set up right on the ranch. It wasn't spacious, but it placed him just steps away from the heart of the investigation. If a sensor spiked at 2 a.m. or a camera caught something strange, Erik could respond immediately. Living on site allowed him to catch events in real time, something no scientist could do from a hotel room or an office in town. The conditions were tough. At night, the ranch could feel isolating, with long stretches of silence broken only by the wind or by the equipment humming in the background. But Erik stayed because he wanted to observe every shift, every vibration, every unexplained change in the environment. Some nights he ran tests wrapped in a jacket, working in the cold, his breath visible in the air, while instruments flickered around him. Other times, he found himself rushing out of the trailer after midnight, checking data that didn't match anything he had seen before. This wasn't just research, it became a lifestyle. Over time, Erik focused heavily on a part of the ranch known as the Ridge. This stretch of elevated land had a long history of strange events, unusual energy readings, odd lights, and unexplained disturbances that seemed to cluster in that area. For the investigative team, the Ridge became a kind of hotspot, and for Erik, it was a natural laboratory. He hiked the ridge many times, often carrying heavy equipment, setting up instruments, and scanning the area with tools like ground-penetrating radar. He wanted to understand if something below the surface might be causing the strange activity. The ridge challenged him with steep climbs, sudden winds, and rough terrain, but it also gave him some of the most valuable data collected on the ranch. Erik lived by one guiding idea: measure first, explain later. Instead of jumping to conclusions, he wanted solid proof. So he filled the ranch with all kinds of equipment. Cameras watched every corner. Sensors tracked tiny changes in air, temperature, and energy. Radios, weather monitors, and special devices he built himself worked together to record anything strange, whether it showed up in the sky, under the ground, or right on the dirt in front of them. He used tools like RF detectors, magnetometers, thermal cameras, radiation sensors, radio frequency analyzers, ground-penetrating radar, and powerful optical devices. Each one helped him see things the human eye could easily miss. With this setup, he studied everything unusual that happened on the ranch. That included UAP sightings, sudden blasts of radiation, odd lights that seemed to float or flicker, strong electromagnetic surges, and quick flashes of energy that came out of nowhere. Erik didn't trust rumors or intuition like many others investigating strange places. He moved with quiet precision, letting science guide him. Every anomaly, every flicker of light, every reading from his instruments had to be measured, analyzed, and verified before any explanation could take shape. And yet the challenges didn't stop there. He also had to navigate the pressures and complications that came from working alongside the production team. But how exactly did he handle it? Bringing science into the spotlight. The secret of Skinwalker Ranch looks exciting on camera, but behind the scenes, it can be extremely stressful. The pressure is real. Filming costs money. Experiments cost even more. And one change in the schedule can throw everything off. The production team often asks for new plans or different shots, and that can create a long list of headaches for someone trying to do careful science. For Erik Bard, it can be nerve-wracking. He isn't just a cast member. He's the one who stays on the ranch, works through the night, and watches every instrument around the clock. Viewers have even noticed that he sometimes looks exhausted. And they're right, he barely sleeps. He carries a workload that would burn out most people. But the biggest challenge isn't the hours. It's the pull between science and television. Erik entered a world most scientists never face: a full television production. The show is made by Prometheus Entertainment for the History Channel, and like any TV series, it needs drama, visuals, and a clear story arc. But real science doesn't move in neat story arcs. It needs calm conditions, repeated tests, slow analysis, and time, lots of time. Those two worlds often clash. Some of the most important data Erik collects never appears on screen, not because it's boring, but because a TV episode has limited minutes and needs eye-catching moments. The team gathers readings, charts, and patterns that could take hours to explain, but the final cut might only show a few seconds. That can be frustrating for a scientist. A brief flash of numbers isn't enough to show the full picture. Real science demands patience, replication, and careful checking. But a show needs motion, tension, and a payoff before the episode ends. So Erik often has to adjust his experiments to match what the cameras can actually capture. He must balance two responsibilities: protect the quality of the research and keep the audience engaged. It's a tightrope walk, and it doesn't end there. There are moments when strange events damage equipment or interrupt an experiment. In science, that would simply mean try again later. In television, that becomes a story point. And sometimes, what the cameras show doesn't fully explain what the instruments recorded. Erik feels this push and pull every day. He knows some discoveries shouldn't be simplified for entertainment. Some readings need slow explanation, maybe even peer review, not quick edits and dramatic music. He also knows that rushing certain experiments can be dangerous. The ranch deals with radiation spikes, powerful electromagnetic surges, and unexplained energy bursts. These aren't just TV moments, they're real, and they can be risky. Even though he takes part in choosing which experiments happen on camera, often alongside ranch owner Brandon Fugel and Travis Taylor, he doesn't control how everything is edited or framed. He contributes the science, but the production team builds the final story. That means he sometimes watches an episode and thinks, there's so much more behind that. Still, Erik never walks away from the mission. Instead, he looks for ways to design experiments that satisfy both sides, the scientific method and the needs of a TV show. He pushes for accuracy and clarity wherever he can. He wants viewers to see the truth of what the instruments capture, not just the exciting parts. He has spoken openly about the moments when important data didn't make it into an episode. It bothers him because he believes the phenomena on the ranch are real and deserve serious attention. For him, this isn't just entertainment. If something on the ranch cannot be explained by known technology or natural causes, then it deserves deeper investigation, not shortcuts. The longer Erik stays at the ranch, the clearer it becomes that balancing science with the demands of storytelling is part of the job. It shapes experiments, influences choices, and even tests trust. But he pushes on. Every measurement, every test, every recording is a step closer to understanding the unknown. Erik Bard isn't here for drama. He's here for answers, one data point at a time. And while he's been deep in that pursuit, he's also been candid about the show and Skinwalker Ranch itself. So, what exactly did he reveal? The haunting truth. If you listen closely to Erik Bard, you start to realize something. He's not trying to scare anyone. He's not trying to sell a ghost story. He's simply telling you what the instruments saw, and somehow that ends up being even more unsettling. For years, Bard walked onto the ranch as the one person determined to stay grounded. He had said in older interviews that he didn't buy into the wild tales at first. To him, the ranch was a stack of mixed-up stories, UFOs, creatures, curses, none of it clear, none of it proven. He believed maybe a tiny part of it was real, but the rest? Probably misunderstandings. But then he started collecting the data, and the data was nothing as he expected. By 2025, during show promotions and new interviews, Bard no longer sounded like the cautious skeptic he once was. His voice carried something different now: weight, tension, and the feeling that he was trying to explain something huge while still choosing his words carefully. One of his most dramatic moments came during the early work for Season 6. He and Travis Taylor uncovered a strange ceramic-like material deep in the ground. It wasn't just odd, it had magnetic behavior that didn't match anything they'd seen before. Bard said the readings refused to behave in any normal way. The material almost seemed designed for something advanced, something not made for simple tools or simple minds. But that was only the beginning. In another interview, Bard spoke about LiDAR scans that exposed something almost unbelievable: a massive, invisible, bubble-shaped structure hanging over the ranch. A dome, a boundary, a shell. Whatever it was, the scans kept showing it again and again, especially over the triangle. Bard said it wasn't a glitch and it wasn't a trick of the software. The shape was there, silent, unseen, and enormous. He didn't say what it meant, only that it was under investigation. Then came the rockets. When Bard and Taylor launched high-tech rockets into the sky to measure the atmosphere, everything went wrong in a way that made no sense. A rocket veered off course without reason, and at that exact moment, a UAP flashed across their monitors. Bard later explained that this wasn't random. The timing lined up too perfectly. Before that, another UAP had appeared in what the team called the high zone, right after the rocket firing. It almost looked like something was reacting to them. Then there was the soil. Bard said the soil behaved like a conductor, almost like copper wire spread across the land. Experiments with Tesla coils sent energy through the ground far too easily. Something under the earth was helping it travel, something powerful. The mesa added another layer to the mystery. Ground-penetrating radar found huge shapes buried deep inside the sandstone. Nothing natural, smooth edges, hard lines. And when the team dug, Bard found metallic fragments, the kind used in aircraft coatings. Not ordinary aircraft, high-tech, advanced, strange. He still analyzes those pieces. But the most haunting moments came from the digital world. During a long night in the control room, the cameras reported movement again and again, even though nothing moved. For 5 hours, Bard's system pinged him constantly. Then, out of nowhere, the image on his screen began to warp. Pixels bent and melted like something was touching the digital feed from the inside. Then, in the corner of the screen, a shape formed. A message. A presence trying to make itself seen. In March 2025, Bard talked about it again. This time, he said he spoke out loud, asking whoever or whatever was there to communicate clearly. Moments later, the pixels shifted once more. A message formed at the very edge of the display, as if something heard him and answered. Even simple things became strange. Bard noticed an old tree on the property, normal at first glance, but directly above it, the branches opened into a perfect circle, like something had blasted through long ago. A silent scar from a crash no one witnessed. Erik Bard talks about these things with a calm, careful intensity, the kind that shows you just how much it affects him, even if he can't fully say it. He doesn't pretend to have all the answers. He doesn't rush to conclusions. He only speaks about what he's observed and measured. He's letting us know that something real is happening on the ranch, and the more he investigates, the stranger it all gets.